Hey guys, we are back for another video, and tonight it's going to be a treat. It's going to be a literal treat because we are going to be making my world famous boring chocolate cookies. Now, don't be scared by the name. It's just a name. I lovingly refer to these cookies as my boring chocolate cookies just because they might look a little plain, but they're not plain. They taste amazing. I literally eat 2 of these every single day for dessert, and I've been doing that since 2019, so that's almost 6 years. February 2019. It hasn't been every single day, but it's been most days. And I also went like 3 months without eating any because, you know, I had to stop making them because I couldn't mix the batter anymore. But then I bought this. This is a stand mixer, and it's been an absolute lifesaver. I've been making cookies again, and it's been perfect. So I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. I finally got a little bit of gear. I got some cables. I have my mic here. I have my camera here. Hopefully this all works. I don't know if it's going to, but let's go to it. We're going to go through every single step, and it's going to be in real time for most of it. So if you've never made cookies before, then try this. It'll work great. If you have made cookies before, try this. It'll taste great. So first thing we need to do, we need to get some butter. And so this recipe calls for, this is a recipe that started out, I found it online and then I tweaked it many times over the years. It sort of turned into my own recipe. And this one has melted butter. So you need a saucepan. Now, if you're gonna mix it by hand, I would say get a bigger saucepan and then just mix everything into the saucepan. But for me, since I'm using the mixer, I just get a small one. So for the butter, I get this, it's unsalted, it's 454 grams. I believe is that two cups or 1 cup? It's 2 cups. Yeah, so I get one of these, I cut it into 4, and then whenever I need to make some cookies, I just put one of the chunks in. Unsalted butter. And this is the last one. I always keep my Ziploc bags, and then I put my compost in them, and then I put them in the freezer until it's garbage day, and then I throw it out. Okay, it's also wrapped in plastic. There we go. Okay, butter is in the pan, and now we're gonna put some chocolate chips. So I like making, using 2 different kinds of chocolate chips. I use dark chocolate chips, and I use semi-sweet chocolate chips. I have these fancy containers. Okay, so what I do is I do a 1/4 cup of each. This is the dark chocolate. This is the semi-sweet. You can put more if you want. So for this recipe, we're going to be melting the chocolate chips into the batter. I mean, everyone likes chocolate chips, right? Chocolate chip cookies are amazing. However, the one thing I don't like about chocolate chip cookies is once they've cooled down, the chocolate chips become hard again. And then, you know, the next time you go to eat a cookie, you get this hard texture of the chocolate chips. And so I had the idea of just melting the chocolate chips into the batter, so that way you don't get that texture anymore. Now, if you want, you could also add some more chocolate chips into the batter later on. You can melt them in just like I am right now, and then you can toss them in again later, after you mix everything together. That way you can have the best of both worlds. If you want, that's what you can do. But that also introduces more sugar and more fat and whatnot. So now we're gonna put this on the stove. So I put it on like 4 out of 10, I guess. You don't want to cook it too much. You don't want to put the heat on too high. Because then it'll start to burn. So just keep stirring it to make sure it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pan. Okay, there we go. And the chocolate is all melted. And the butter is all melted as well. Okay. So I'm going to pour this mixture into the bottom of the bowl. Now you need to get some sugar. And we're going to be doing 2 quarter cups, so half a cup. We need the quarter cup for the cocoa powder later, so I don't even use the half cup, even though I do have a half cup here. I'll screw myself up if I don't do this my normal way. So we're going to do 2 1/4 cups. So the one thing about baking, you have to use the exact ingredients. Don't go improvising. You have to use the exact right amount. So for the sugar, just make sure it's pretty much flush with the top. So there's 1. And there's 2. All right, next up we are doing artificial vanilla extract. So we're going to be doing 1 teaspoon of that. And then we need 1 egg. 1 large egg. So for the egg, I like to mix this for quite a bit actually. Once you start mixing it, it's still kind of, I don't know what the word is, but like you can still feel the egg in the batter. It's sort of jelly-ish, I guess, jelly-like, the texture. But once you keep mixing it, it turns into this very smooth and silky chocolate, just like the stuff that you see on the commercials where they're pouring chocolate onto something and it looks silky smooth. So that's the kind of texture I want to get from this egg when you're mixing this egg. Okay, that feels good. You can see how silky smooth that looks. And next up we are doing the cocoa powder, the baking soda, and the salt. So right about now I will start preheating my oven. So you preheat it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I also use a baking stone. I started using that because I used to make pizza all the time, and it was just easier just to leave the stone in the oven the whole time. And so I've adapted my cookie recipe to cooking it on the baking stone. And so when you preheat your oven, you have to have the stone in there so that it warms up, at just like the oven. Okay, so for the cocoa powder, this is unsweetened cocoa powder. So you do a 1/4 cup of this. And you do 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder. And another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And you mix that together. So what I do is I mix it just very briefly, and I lift this up, and I wipe down the sides with my spoon. Make sure all the powder is down into the batter. Oh, I got my finger. All right, you just want to mix that until it's mixed together. You don't want to overmix that. And now we're going to add our last ingredient. This is the flour. Okay, so for measuring flour, you put the cup in, the measuring cup in. You sort of shake off the excess, and then you have a knife here, and you just cut off the top so that it's perfectly flush. And you don't want to pack it down. You just want to have it in there. And so the amount we're using 1.5 cups. So I used 3 half cups. And now for the flour, while mixing the flour, you want to mix it sort of the least amount as possible. And you also want to mix it on a really slow speed, because if you're not careful, you can get a flour powder dust cloud in your face. So I just do it on speed 1. All right, that looks great. So you just want to mix it just enough so all the flour is mixed into the batter. Okay, so your batter is done. Now I'm just going to scrape off, I should say, the extra batter here. Then this thing comes off. Okay, so now we're ready to make our cookies. Put them onto a piece of parchment paper. So I've got this little scooper thing. I used to use this for pizza. It works great for cookies as well. So I have my parchment paper. I'm going to cut it to the width of the scoop. I don't know how big that is. It also depends on how big your baking stone is. So I've just, I've learned that if I cut it to the width of the thing here, the flipper, it fits on to my stone. Did that sentence make sense? Okay. I don't like getting my hands dirty, because then I have to wash them, and my skin gets really dry. And so I wear these single-use plastic gloves. They're pretty amazing. And since you only use them one time, it's much better for the environment. Okay, so I've got a spoon. I don't know what kind of spoon it is. It's like a cereal spoon, a soup spoon or something. And so it really depends on how big you want to make your cookies. I always make 14 cookies, so I know how big I have to make them. If you like big cookies, you can make less. If you like small cookies, you can make more, obviously. But you want to make sure that they're all the same size. Generally all the same size. So just make balls. I'm making 14. So I made them just a little too big because I don't quite have enough left over for 2 cookies. But that's okay. I'm just going to cannibalize some of the other cookies. Just grab a little bit from each. If you get really good at this, you can do it first try. So just going to grab a little bit from each cookie. Try to get it from the bigger ones. There. There's your 14th cookie. Okay, so my baking stone is round. And so what I like to do, I start by arranging the sides. So I do 4 on each side, 2 rows of 4, 2 columns of 4. I always get that confused, rows and columns. And then in the middle, I have 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. And then in the middle of that, I have some sort of arrangement like this. So I got 4 in the center there. And now you're going to just push them down a little bit. Once again, it depends on how thick you want them. I like mine to be a little thick. So, you know, if you've ever made hamburgers, it's the exact same thing. You just push them down. And you can always round them off a bit, just so they look extra nice. Now, I don't know how thick these are. You can see that. However thick this is. It's probably like ½ an inch. All right, and there you have it. Your cookies are made, and now we just have to wait for the oven to finish preheating. It should be done any second. If it's not done, then I start doing some dishes. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, the oven has preheated, so let's stick these in the oven. And so the amount of time, I put my timer for 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, it really depends on how wet your batter is for how long you cook them. It also matters with, you know, how well done you like them, well done. So I normally put them in anywhere between 6 minutes and 30 seconds and 8 minutes. Now, this batter was quite dry. It wasn't very wet. So I decided on 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Sometimes the batter is quite wet and I will put it in for 8 minutes. Usually not 8 minutes though. I like them on the little less done side. I think that matters. Why that matters is because the butter. Sometimes I don't, you know, portion out the butter exactly, so sometimes it's wetter than other times, but 6 minutes, 30 seconds. And there you have it. There are your batch of cookies, of your boring chocolate cookies. So, I mean, you can eat them right now if you want. I've already had my daily allotment of chocolate cookies. So I'm not going to be eating any right now. What I am going to do is we have to wait 30 minutes and then I will put them into this plastic container for the next week, 14 days. So I have 2 a day, so that will last me a week. Okay, so our cookies have finished cooling down, and we are ready to place them into the Ziploc container. It's not a Ziploc container, into the Tupperware container. This is a Starfrit lock and lock container. These are amazing. Now, I still have 2 cookies left, so I'm gonna have to take those out, and I'll put them on the very top. Let's get a couple more of our environmentally friendly single-use plastic gloves. Okay, so let's take out my old cookies. I will put them to the side. I'll throw out this. I'm gonna have to get some new pieces of this, whatever this is, paper towel. Gonna need 3 of them. Okay, so what I do, because of the size of my cookies, I put 5 on the, I put layers of 5. And then I put another layer of paper towel. Okay, and since I have 2 left over, I'm going to grab another little piece. All right. And this goes in the garbage. And there you have it. There are your boring chocolate cookies. I really hope you make them. I literally eat them every single day. It's the best part of my day. I'll see you next time.